Welcome to True Crime Case Files, the podcast that delves into the darkest mysteries and investigates the most intriguing crimes. In this episode, we uncover the chilling story of murder under the Magnolia trees. In Mississippi in January of 2008, the mysterious and tragic death of a 29-year-old psychic and astrologer shook her community. Katia Powell, a 29-year-old woman from Eupora, Mississippi, was known as the psychic and astrologer of her community. She had a deep connection with the spiritual world and was highly regarded by those who sought her guidance. Katia's father, Reverend Vance Vice Powell, a Baptist minister from the neighboring town of Mathiston, had a complicated relationship with his daughter's work. He believed that her abilities were influenced by evil forces, despite their close bond. Katia was a proud Aries and an active participant in the world of Dungeons & Dragons, where she embraced the persona of Lysandra Dragonslayer. She immersed herself in her work, with aspirations of expanding her psychic abilities. As January of 2008 rolled in, she was determined to take her skills to new heights. Eupora, a small town in Mississippi, was abuzz with excitement for the new year. The community was still recovering from the aftermath of the devastating tornado that had struck the region the previous year. The local newspaper, the Webster Progress-Times, reported on the progress made in the town's recovery efforts. It highlighted the resilience of the community and the hope that the new year brought. Katia's clients, who came from all walks of life, relied on her guidance to navigate the uncertainties of the future. She had gained a reputation for her accurate predictions and insightful readings. Her name was often mentioned in conversations at the local Eupora coffee house, where townsfolk gathered to discuss the latest happenings. However, not everyone in Eupora was a believer in Katia's abilities. Some skeptics dismissed her as a charlatan, claiming that her predictions were nothing more than lucky guesses. This skepticism only fueled Katia's determination to prove herself and silence her critics. As the days passed, Katia's dedication to her craft intensified. She spent hours studying astrology charts, practicing her psychic readings, and honing her skills. She had recently purchased a new set of tarot cards from Mystic Moon Magic Shop, a popular metaphysical store in nearby Starkville. The cards were said to be enchanted, enhancing the accuracy of her readings. On the cold winter evening of January 23, 2008, the small town of Eupora, Mississippi was cloaked in an eerie stillness. The air hung heavy with a sense of foreboding, as if nature itself held its breath in anticipation of the tragic events that were about to unfold. As twilight descended upon the town, casting long shadows across the landscape, the lifeless body of 29-year-old Katia Powell was discovered beneath the majestic magnolia tree that adorned her backyard. The grim discovery was made by Patty Delgado, a close friend and neighbor of the deceased psychic and astrologer. Patty, who had grown concerned after not hearing from Katia for several days, ventured over to her house to check on her well-being. What Patty encountered was a scene straight out of a nightmare. The lifeless body of her dear friend lay sprawled on the ground, bathed in the pale moonlight. Shock and horror washed over Patty as she frantically dialed emergency services, her trembling voice betraying her disbelief at the sight before her. Within minutes, the Eupora Police Department descended upon the scene, their flashing blue lights illuminating the otherwise dark and somber neighborhood. Officers cordoned off the area, preventing curious onlookers from getting too close. The news of Katia's untimely demise spread like wildfire through the tight-knit community, leaving its residents in a state of shock and disbelief. Local media outlets, such as the Eupora Gazette and the Mississippi Times, dedicated coverage to the perplexing case. The story captured the attention of the nation, with news outlets like CNN and Fox News picking up the story, eager to delve into the enigma surrounding Katia's demise. As the days turned into weeks, the investigation took numerous twists and turns, leading detectives down a labyrinth of clues and potential suspects. The once peaceful streets of Eupora became a hotbed of speculation and intrigue, as residents grappled with the unsettling knowledge that a killer could be lurking among them. As news of Katia Powell's tragic death spread throughout the town of Eupora, the community was left in shock and disbelief. The small Mississippi town, known for its close-knit residents and peaceful atmosphere, had never experienced such a heinous crime. The murder of a beloved psychic and astrologer sent shockwaves through the community, leaving everyone searching for answers. The investigation into Katia's death was swiftly taken over by the local police department, with detectives Felicia Wallister and Sherry Backram leading the charge. These seasoned investigators were no strangers to solving crimes, having successfully closed numerous cases in the past. Their dedication and commitment to justice were evident from the moment they arrived at the crime scene. The detectives meticulously combed through every inch of the area surrounding the Magnolia tree where Kadia's lifeless body was found. They carefully collected any potential evidence, taking note of even the smallest detail. Every leaf, every blade of grass, and every footprint was analyzed, as the detectives left no stone unturned in their quest for the truth. As the investigation unfolded, the detectives discovered several key pieces of evidence that would prove crucial in piecing together the events leading up to Kadia's death. They found a series of text messages on her phone, indicating a possible conflict with an unidentified individual. The detectives traced the number, leading them to a person of interest who lived in a neighboring town. The detectives also interviewed friends and family members, hoping to gain insight into Kadia's personal life and potential motives for her murder. They discovered that she had recently been featured in a local newspaper article, highlighting her unique abilities as a psychic and astrologer. The article had garnered attention from both supporters and skeptics alike, leading to a heated debate within the community. Additionally, the detectives uncovered a diary belonging to Kadia, in which she detailed her aspirations and fears. The entries revealed her desire to expand her psychic abilities and her struggle to gain acceptance from her father, Reverend Vance Powell. These personal insights shed light on the complexities of Kadia's life and provided the detectives with a deeper understanding of the victim. As the investigation continued, the detectives faced numerous challenges and setbacks. They encountered false leads, unreliable witnesses, and a lack of concrete evidence. However, their unwavering determination and commitment to justice kept them focused on their ultimate goal, finding Kadia's killer and bringing them to justice. Reverend Vance Vice Powell, a Baptist minister in the neighboring town of Mathiston, found himself at the center of a chilling murder investigation. The prime suspect in the tragic death of his daughter, Kadia Powell, Reverend Powell's strong religious convictions and disapproval of her psychic and astrological work raised eyebrows among the investigators. As the police interrogated Reverend Powell, they sought to uncover any potential motives he might have had for committing such a heinous crime. The suspect's response was a mix of anger and denial, vehemently proclaiming his innocence. However, the investigators knew they had to dig deeper into his background to uncover the truth. Reverend Powell's opposition to his daughter's involvement in the psychic world was well known in the tight-knit community. He believed that her work was influenced by evil forces and would lead her down a path to damnation. This belief put him at odds with Kadia and caused tension within their relationship. The investigators delved into Reverend Powell's past, searching for any evidence that could link him to the crime. They discovered that he had a reputation for being a strict and controlling father, often clashing with Kadia over her choices in life. The tension between them had escalated in the months leading up to her death, as Kadia had expressed her desire to expand her psychic abilities. To further complicate matters, Reverend Powell's sermons at the Mathiston Baptist Church had become increasingly fiery and passionate in the weeks preceding the murder. He had been warning his congregation about the dangers of the occult and the influence of demons in people's lives. Some members of the community wondered if his sermons were a veiled confession of guilt. As the investigation continued, the detectives meticulously combed through Reverend Powell's phone records, financial transactions, and personal belongings. They interviewed friends, family, and members of the congregation to gather more information about his character and potential motives. The investigators knew that they had a challenging task ahead of them. They had to separate fact from speculation and build a solid case against Reverend Powell if they were to bring justice for Kadia's tragic death. The truth, they believed, was hidden somewhere within the web of secrets and emotions that surrounded this small Mississippi town. As the investigation into the murder of Kadia Powell unfolded, a shocking revelation came to light. Another life had been cut short in the small town of Eupora, Mississippi. The victim, Syria Denham, a 25-year-old cashier at the local Dollar General, was found dead in her own home. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community, deepening the sense of fear and unease that had already taken hold. Syria's body had been hidden in the refrigerator, a chilling detail that added to the macabre nature of the crime. The police determined that she had been killed a few days prior to Kadia's tragic death. The timing and proximity of these two murders raised suspicion and intensified the urgency of the investigation. The focus quickly turned to Lancelot Hamilton, Syria's boyfriend and an ex-felon. Eyewitnesses had spotted his distinctive pickup truck near Kadia's house on the day of her murder. This crucial piece of information made Lancelot a person of interest in both cases. To further complicate matters, Lancelot's criminal history added a layer of complexity to the case. The investigators meticulously reviewed his past convictions, searching for any connection to the murders. They reached out to law enforcement agencies in neighboring towns, collaborating and sharing information to build a comprehensive profile of Lancelot. As the investigation unfolded, the media interest surrounding the case grew. Local newspapers covered the story. The tight-knit community found itself thrust into the spotlight, grappling with the weight of these heinous crimes. The investigators faced mounting pressure to solve the murders and bring the perpetrators to justice. Every lead was pursued with unwavering determination as they sifted through evidence, interviewed witnesses, and analyzed forensic findings. The clock ticked, and the town anxiously awaited answers. In their relentless pursuit of justice, the police made a breakthrough discovery a few weeks after the initial investigation. On a cold winter day in late January of 2008, they uncovered a hidden diary belonging to Syria Denham, the 25-year-old cashier at the local Dollar General who was found dead in her own home. The diary provided a glimpse into the tumultuous relationship between Syria and her boyfriend, Lancelot Hamilton, an ex-felon who quickly became a person of interest in the case. The diary entries painted a disturbing picture of a relationship marred by domestic disputes and violence. Syria detailed instances of physical abuse and emotional manipulation, shedding light on the possible motives behind her tragic death. The pages were filled with her fears and desperation as she struggled to break free from the toxic cycle of her relationship with Lancelot. The police meticulously analyzed the diary, documenting every detail and potential clue. The entries revealed that Syria had confided in a close friend, expressing her desire to leave Lancelot and seek help. The investigators immediately reached out to this friend, hoping to gather more information that could aid in their quest for justice. As the investigation unfolded, the police uncovered additional evidence linking Lancelot to the murder of Claudia Powell, the 29-year-old psychic and astrologer whose lifeless body was found under the Magnolia tree in her own backyard. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station captured Lancelot's pickup truck near Claudia's house on the day of the murder, providing a crucial piece of the puzzle. With the newfound knowledge from Syria's diary and the surveillance footage, the investigators were determined to connect the dots and bring the truth to light. They delved deeper into Lancelot's background, uncovering a history of violent behavior and a criminal record that further fueled their suspicions. As the investigation reached its critical juncture, the police were closing in on their suspects. The truth behind the deaths of Claudia Powell and Syria Denham was within reach, and the town held its breath in anticipation of justice being served. Lancelot Hamilton, the primary person of interest in the murder investigation, faced intense scrutiny from the police. With his troubled past and association with the late Syria Denham, suspicions surrounding his involvement in the murders grew stronger. The investigators delved deep into Lancelot's personality, dreams, and possible motives, leaving no stone unturned in their quest for the truth. During the interrogation, Lancelot's demeanor betrayed a mixture of anger and fear, as he struggled to maintain his composure under the mounting evidence against him. The investigators skillfully probed into his background, meticulously dissecting his every move in the days leading up to the murders. As the questioning intensified, Lancelot's facade began to crumble. His attempts to evade the investigators' inquiries became increasingly futile as the weight of the evidence bore down on him. The police presented him with compelling evidence, including eyewitness accounts placing his pickup truck near Claudia Powell's house on the day of her murder. These accounts were further bolstered by surveillance footage from a nearby gas station, capturing Lancelot's vehicle at the scene. In addition to the circumstantial evidence, the investigators uncovered a disturbing connection between Lancelot and Syria. The recently discovered diary of Syria Denham revealed a tumultuous relationship marred by domestic disputes and violence. This revelation painted a chilling picture of a troubled dynamic between the couple, raising further suspicions about Lancelot's potential involvement in both murders. The police, driven by an unwavering commitment to justice, continued to dig deeper into Lancelot's background. They reached out to acquaintances, friends, and family members, seeking any information that could shed light on his motives. The investigators meticulously combed through phone records, financial transactions, and social media profiles, piecing together a comprehensive timeline of Lancelot's activities in the days leading up to the murders. As the investigation unfolded, the media's attention turned towards this gripping case that had captivated the small town of Upora. Local newspapers ran updates on the investigation, while television news stations dedicated segments to the latest developments. The community, gripped by fear and curiosity, anxiously awaited the resolution of this haunting mystery. With Lancelot Hamilton at the center of the investigation, the police were determined to bring justice to the victims and closure to the community. As the case approached its climax, the truth remained just out of reach, tantalizingly close yet frustratingly elusive. After an intense investigation, the truth behind the murders that shook the small town of Eupora finally came to light, revealing Lancelot Hamilton as the cold-blooded killer. Lancelot, a troubled ex-felon, had committed the heinous crimes out of fear that his dark secret would be exposed. The police meticulously unraveled the intricate web of deception, leaving no stone unturned in their pursuit of justice. The motive for the first murder, that of Syria Denham, a 25-year-old cashier at the local Dollar General, was rooted in a tumultuous relationship marred by domestic disputes and violence. Lancelot's fear of Syria's ghost haunting him did not stop him from committing the unthinkable act of taking her life. Little did he know that this act would set off a chain of events that would ultimately lead to his own downfall. The discovery of Syria's hidden diary proved to be a crucial turning point in the investigation. The diary detailed the troubled relationship between Syria and Lancelot, providing valuable insights into their lives and the events that transpired leading up to her tragic death. This newfound knowledge allowed the investigators to connect the dots and follow the trail of evidence. As the investigation progressed, the police uncovered a chilling connection between Syria's murder and the death of Katia Powell, the 29-year-old psychic and astrologer. Lancelot's fear of Syria's ghost exposing his dark secret to Katia had driven him to silence her forever. The police painstakingly pieced together the timeline of events, meticulously analyzing phone records, surveillance footage, and witness testimonies to build their case against Lancelot. On the day of the arrest, the atmosphere in Eupora was heavy with anticipation. The entire community was on edge, eager for justice to be served. The police, armed with overwhelming evidence, closed in on Lancelot. The arrest took place on a cold winter morning, the same chilling backdrop that had witnessed the crimes committed. As the handcuffs clicked shut, a collective sigh of relief swept through the town. The arrest of Lancelot Hamilton sent shockwaves through the community, leaving Katia's family devastated and the townspeople grappling with the horrifying reality that such evil could exist in their midst. The media frenzy that followed was unprecedented, with news outlets from across the state covering the shocking details of the case. The story of murder under the Magnolia trees became a cautionary tale, a reminder that darkness can lurk even in the most seemingly idyllic places. The trial that ensued was a solemn affair, filled with heightened emotions and a sense of justice hanging in the balance. District Attorney Warren Prancett, a seasoned prosecutor known for his unwavering dedication to upholding the law, presented a compelling case against Lancelot Hamilton. Prancett meticulously outlined the chilling details of the murders, painting a vivid picture of the heinous crimes committed in the small town of Eupora, Mississippi. In the courtroom, the victims' families sat with a mixture of grief and anticipation as they watched the proceedings unfold. The defense attorney, David Joe Lodies, a renowned legal expert known for his tenacity, fought fiercely to cast doubt on the evidence presented by the prosecution. Lodies argued that the police had rushed to judgment and that there were other plausible suspects that had not been thoroughly investigated. Throughout the trial, the courtroom was filled with tension as witnesses were called to the stand. Friends and acquaintances of both victims bravely took the stand, recounting their interactions with Lancelot Hamilton and the victims in the months leading up to their deaths. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence, including phone records, DNA analysis, and eyewitness testimonies, all pointing towards Hamilton's guilt. As the trial progressed, the media frenzy surrounding the case reached a fever pitch. News outlets from across Mississippi descended upon Eupora, eager to report on the sensational trial. Journalists jostled for prime spots in the overcrowded courtroom, their pens poised to capture every detail of the proceedings. After weeks of intense courtroom drama, the jury finally reached a verdict. The courtroom fell into a hushed silence as the foreperson stood up to deliver the verdict. Guilty. The word reverberated through the room, causing gasps and tears to flow from the victims' families. The weight of the guilty verdict was palpable, offering a sense of closure to those who had lost their loved ones so tragically. Lancelot Hamilton, now convicted of both murders, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The sentencing brought a mix of relief and sorrow to the victims' families as they grappled with the finality of the court's decision. Some found solace in the fact that justice had been served, while others still struggled to come to terms with the loss they had endured. The impact of the trial extended far beyond the courtroom walls. leaving an indelible mark on the community of Upora. The townsfolk, once united in their grief, now faced the difficult task of healing and moving forward. After the conclusion of the trial, the individuals involved in the murder under the Magnolia trees case embarked on their own journeys of healing and moving forward. Reverend Vance Vice Powell, Kadia's father, grappled with the guilt and remorse of his strained relationship with his daughter. He sought solace in his faith, finding comfort in the support of his congregation and the prayers of the community. Reverend Powell dedicated himself to spreading a message of love and forgiveness, hoping to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. Meanwhile, the police investigators, Detectives Felicia Wallister and Sherry Backram, continued their tireless pursuit of justice in other cases. They remained committed to protecting the community, tirelessly working to solve crimes and bring closure to victims and their families. Their dedication and meticulous approach earned them accolades from their colleagues and the respect of the community. Kadia's family and friends found solace in each other, supporting one another through the difficult process of grieving and healing. They held a memorial service to honor Kadia's memory, inviting friends, family, and community members to celebrate her life. The service was a somber yet uplifting event, filled with heartfelt speeches, music, and shared memories. The community came together, offering their condolences and support to Kadia's loved ones. In the wider community of Upora, Mississippi, the impact of the case was profound. The tragic events had shaken the town to its core, leaving a lasting imprint on its residents. The local newspaper, the Upora Times, dedicated several articles to the case, documenting the investigation, trial, and the aftermath. The case also garnered attention from regional news outlets, with television stations like WEVA and WAPT covering the trial proceedings. As the town slowly began to heal, the community rallied together, organizing events and initiatives to promote healing and unity. Local businesses, such as the Magnolia Diner and the Upora Flower Shop, offered their services and support to the victims' families. The tragedy had brought the community closer, fostering a sense of resilience and solidarity. In the years that followed, Upora, Mississippi, continued to rebuild and move forward. The murder under the Magnolia trees case served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing our loved ones. The town learned valuable lessons about the power of community, compassion, and the pursuit of justice. The memory of Kadia and Syria remained alive in the hearts of those who knew them, and their legacy served as a reminder to embrace life and support one another. The murder under the Magnolia trees case remains etched in the annals of Upora's history, a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the depths of human darkness. It serves as a testament to the tireless efforts of law enforcement, the resilience of the victims' loved ones, and the enduring power of justice. Join us next time on True Crime Case Files as we delve into another captivating tale of mystery and intrigue. Hey, True Crime Case solvers, interested in more real-life murder mysteries? Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And do you have any thoughts about this case or have a case of your own you'd like us to investigate? Leave us a comment. Until then, stay safe, True Crime Case solvers.